Imagine waking up, opening up your analytics dashboard and realizing that 81% of your website traffic it's simply vanished.
Just completely wiped out.
Right, and you didn't get a manual penalty, your servers didn't crash, you didn't accidentally delete your homepage or anything. The internet just structurally shifted overnight, and your business was left behind.
Which is a terrifying thought for any business owner.
Absolutely. Welcome to the deep dive. It is Wednesday, August 12th, 2026, and our mission for this deep dive is unpacking a massive stack of tech and SEO reports from this exact date to really understand how the internet's discovery engines have just fundamentally mutated.
Yeah, we're looking at a landscape where the old rules of search engine optimization are, well, they're officially relics of the past.
They really are, and that 81% traffic drop, that isn't some hypothetical scenario. That is a real statistic from our sources regarding HubSpot.
Oh yeah, one of the absolute titans of inbound marketing.
Exactly. They dropped from around 13.5 million monthly blog visits all the way down to under 2 million. It's wild. Generative Engine Optimization, or GEO, is really what dictates survival at this point. So, okay, let's unpack this. We have our resident expert here to help guide you through this really high-stakes environment.
Glad to be here. Because this affects everyone.
It does, because whether you are running a multi-million-dollar brand or you're just trying to get your personal portfolio noticed in August 2026, these new rules determine whether you actually exist on the internet or if you are just entirely invisible to AI.
What's fascinating here is that HubSpot serves as the ultimate cautionary tale for publishers who are failing to adapt to answer engine optimization, or AEO.
Right, because they literally wrote the book on inbound marketing.
They did. For over a decade, they essentially owned the traditional search results. But this transition from legacy search engines, where a query just yields a list of blue links to answer engines, where AI synthesizes a direct, comprehensive response.
It just changes the whole game.
It alters the fundamental physics of web traffic. I mean, users are no longer clicking through 3 different articles to compile and answer themselves.
Yeah.
The machine does the compiling for them.
Yeah, the sheer volume of users abandoning traditional search is staggering when you actually look at the August 2026 stats in our stack.
The numbers are huge.
They really are. I mean, ChatGPT is sitting at 1 billion active users. That translates to 5.32 billion monthly web visits. Gemini has 950 million users.
Wow.
Perplexity has 45 million users, driving over 140 million monthly visits, and Claude is at 18.9 million active users.
These aren't just secondary chat interfaces anymore.
No, not at all. They're the new primary front doors to the web. And when people use those front doors, the traditional mechanics of SEO just break down completely. I mean, the reports revealed this really terrifying benchmark for traditional marketers.
Right, the keyword mismatch.
Yeah, between 65 and 85% of ChatGPT prompts have absolutely no keyword match in standard marketing databases.
That data point right there, that is the death knell for legacy keyword research.
Totally.
Historically, search operated on lexical matching. If a user typed best running shoes, the database just looked for documents containing those exact words or close variations of
Just matching the text string.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But modern large language models use vector search. They map words and sentences as data points in this multi-dimensional space based on their conceptual meaning, not their spelling.
Right.
So a user isn't really searching for keywords anymore. They are submitting complex multi-sentence prompts about highly specific situations.
It's like going to a library, right? And instead of asking the librarian for a specific book title which represents your traditional keyword, you just walk in and describe a vague, highly personal problem you're having.
Exactly. You don't ask for the medical encyclopedia.
Right. You just say, I have this weird buzzing in my left ear, but only when I drink cold water and I need something to soothe it. If a brand only optimized their content for the book title ear pain remedies, they are completely left out of the conversation.
Because the AI librarian doesn't even know they exist to recommend them.
Exactly. The brand never established conceptual relevance to that specific hyper-niche scenario.
Right. The AI librarian is looking to synthesize a solution from foundational knowledge. It's not hunting for a string of text, which really forces a major pivot in how we have to look at content.
Yeah.
If standard keywords are functionally obsolete for these platforms, we really have to look at what specific signals these AI models are actually citing when they construct their answers.
Right, we're looking for the new currency of ranking. So what does AI actually want to see when it crawls a site?
Well, it comes down to a framework Google introduced years ago, which is now hardened into the de facto ranking signal across all major AI platforms. It's EEAT.
Which stands for experience, expertise, authoritativeness, and trustworthiness.
Exactly. Initially, this was just a manual rater guideline heavily applied to your money or your life topics, health, finance, legal advice. But as of August 2026, it is the universal algorithmic filter. And the most critical letter in that entire acronym is the very first one,
Experience.
experience.
I have to push back on that a bit, though, because, I use Claude and ChatGPT daily, and AI can rate incredibly authoritative-sounding content.
Oh, absolutely.
It can sound like an absolute expert on quantum physics or plumbing, complete with formatting and citations. If the machine itself can fake expertise and authoritativeness at scale, how does a human brand actually stand out?
See, that is the core dilemma for publishers right now. And it's exactly why the experience factor is the ultimate differentiator.
Okay, how so?
An AI can synthesize data beautifully, but it cannot physically interact with the world. It cannot put on a pair of running shoes and tell you that the toe box pinches after mile 10.
Right, it doesn't have feet.
Exactly. It cannot implement a complex enterprise software tool and describe the specific friction a real IT team faced when migrating legacy data. Search algorithms in 2026 are actively looking for signals of lived human experience that just cannot be generated in a server farm.
So they're looking for, what, proof that you actually did the thing?
Exactly. They look for original photography, verified author entities with historical credibility, unique data sets. SEO and brand building are essentially the exact same discipline now. You have to do actual things in the real world and then document them.
That makes a lot of sense. The algorithm is hunting for the one thing it genuinely can't simulate. But looking at the reports, they also make it clear that you can't just apply one broad strategy across all these platforms.
Yeah, definitely not.
We're dealing with different AI models that process data entirely differently.
Yeah, the multi-platform reality requires a really nuanced approach
Sure.
because the underlying architecture of these models varies wildly.
Like with Perplexity.
Right. Perplexity, for example, relies heavily on a pipeline called retrieval augmented generation. This means before it even answers a prompt, it searches the live web for real-time information to inject into its response.
So it wants fresh data.
Highly fresh. It heavily values recent, highly cited sources because its primary function is accurate, real-time research. Claude, on the other hand, is built with neural weights that prioritize deep, logical reasoning and nuance.
Oh, interesting. So it wants different content.
It tends to cite comprehensive, long-form content that explores the gray areas of a topic, and then ChatGPT sits somewhere in the middle, really favoring conversational depth, anchored by very strong EAT signals.
Okay, here's where it gets really interesting for me. We talk a lot about content and human experience, but the technical foundation of your website is arguably more urgent than ever.
Oh, absolutely. It's critical.
The reports highlight tools like Screaming Frog, Botify, and SEO Clarity as being essential for full funnel technical monitoring, specifically regarding core web vitals. Let's break down the technical side for a second. Why does a super smart AI bot care if a page loads a millisecond slower? It's a machine, not an impatient person.
Well, it actually comes down to basic economics.
Yeah.
Compute power is the single most expensive resource in the tech world.
Right, those server farms are massive.
Huge. Companies like OpenAI, Anthropic, Google, they are spending billions of dollars just to keep their servers running. So when their AI crawlers go out to map the web and update their training data, they're operating on incredibly strict compute budgets.
They can't waste time.
They cannot waste cycles. They need to parse and extract data as cheaply and efficiently as possible.
So when we talk about a metric like time to first byte or PTFB, we're literally talking about the milliseconds it takes for a web server to send the very first piece of data back to the crawler's request.
Exactly that. If an AI crawler hits a site with a slow time to first byte, or, say, a site bogged down by bloated JavaScript, it encounters a major problem.
Because it has to work harder to read it.
Right. Rendering JavaScript requires a crawler to essentially run a headless browser, which consumes massive amounts of CPU memory. If your site requires heavy lifting to read, the AI simply won't spend the compute cycles on you.
Wow, it just skips you.
It will silently deprioritize your site and move on to a competitor whose code is clean and lightweight. And you don't get an alert. You don't get a penalty notification in an inbox somewhere. You just fade from the AI's understanding of the world.
That is brutal.
Technical SEO is no longer about pleasing a ranking algorithm. It's literally about making data extraction incredibly cheap for AI companies.
Okay, but knowing all this theory is one thing. We know we need demonstrable human experience, we know we need pristine code to save the bots money, and we know traditional keywords are dead, but traditional rank trackers only tell you where you sit on a list of 10 blue links for a specific phrase. Since those are useless for measuring prompt-based discovery, how do you actually measure if you are showing up in AI answers?
This brings us to the absolute explosion of the generative engine optimization software market in 2026.
The GEO tools.
Yes. The shift from abstract theory to concrete measurement is really defining the industry, starting with what we can call the new command centers.
Semrush One is a massive part of that, isn't it? According to our August 12 reports, they've really positioned themselves as the definitive platform unifying traditional SEO and GEO.
They've made a huge push.
Yeah, they offer an AI search add-on for $71.20 a month that tracks your brand's presence across all major AI models. But the real feature is how it tracks brand sentiment.
That's the game changer.
It uses natural language processing to analyze the context of the AI's output. So it tells you not just if Claude mentioned your brand, but whether Claude recommended it as a top-tier solution or, warned the user about your buggy customer service.
And Ahrefs has countered that with a feature they call Brand Radar. Ahrefs is leveraging its historical link index, which is this massive mathematical map of how the entire internet links to itself to find visibility gaps.
Visibility gaps? What do you mean?
By analyzing the link graph alongside AI outputs, it identifies topics where your competitors are being consistently cited by generative engines, but you were completely absent.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it translates the nebulous concept of AI visibility into a literal spreadsheet of content opportunities you are actively missing.
That's incredibly actionable. And beyond those enterprise giants, there's a really fascinating ecosystem of niche GEO specialists emerging. Like Otterly.ai is offering fixed prompt tracking starting at $29 a month, which is highly accessible for smaller teams.
Very affordable.
You just tell it the exact prompts you care about, and it monitors how the AI responds over time. But then you have Peec AI for $95 a month, which does flexible multi-brand tracking.
Right, and Peec AI's flexible approach is crucial for agencies who are managing dozens of clients.
Because they need to track everything.
Exactly. Instead of just tracking static prompts, it monitors the dynamic, shifting ways AI responds to broader topical categories. So an agency can see if their client's market share of AI citations is growing or shrinking relative to competitors over time.
The tool that really caught my eye, though, especially regarding that keyword mismatch problem we discussed earlier, is Profound.
Oh, Profound is fascinating.
It is. Traditional tools often just scrape search engine autocomplete data to guess what people are asking. But Profound actually secures data partnerships to aggregate real, anonymized conversational data from actual AI users.
Which is huge.
It gives you genuine prompt intelligence. You can see the messy, multi-paragraph questions people are actually typing into ChatGPT, which perfectly solves that 85% mismatch benchmark.
That kind of data acquisition is incredibly powerful.
Yeah.
And then you have platforms focusing on the technical synthesis side, like Conductor. Conductor mathematically connects the output of AI responses directly to your server's crawler activity logs.
Wait.
Yes, it allows you to see the direct correlation between when an AI bot crawls a specific page on your site and when that content subsequently appears in a generative answer.
That is next-level tracking. We also have Athena HQ in the stack, tracking perception variance across 8 different AI models simultaneously. But, having all this raw data can easily lead to analysis paralysis. It's just dashboards of noise unless you can actually activate it.
And this raises an important question, right? How do you turn a fire hose of AI visibility data into an actual business strategy? That's where Visby AI stands out, particularly for B2B and SaaS organizations.
Because they automate the next steps.
Exactly. Visby doesn't just present a dashboard. It runs automated audits and translates those findings into specific site-level tasks, essentially generating JIRA tickets for your engineering and content teams.
Oh, that's brilliant.
Furthermore, it utilizes a funnel-based tracking model. It maps user prompts across the entire customer journey: awareness, consideration, and conversion.
So you know exactly where the user is in the buying cycle.
Right. If the AI is mentioning you when a user is just researching a problem versus when they literally have their credit card out asking the AI to compare your pricing to a competitor, That direct mapping to the conversion funnel is vital for proving return on investment, or ROI.
While those enterprise tools are incredibly powerful for massive budgets, I was looking through the lower tier of these reports for small and medium-sized businesses, SMBs. SE Ranking has introduced an AI search add-on, also priced around $71.20 a month, which you access through their SE Visible dashboard.
Yeah, that's a great tool for local markets.
It really is. They've built their infrastructure to combine local SEO with AI visibility, because if you run a chain of physical coffee shops, an AI model needs to know your exact geolocations, your operating hours, your menu. SE Ranking bridges the gap between hyperlocal data and large language model ingestion.
There is also a critical starting point for anyone who feels completely overwhelmed by the sheer volume of these new tools. HubSpot provides the AEO Grader, and it is entirely free.
It's an incredibly smart diagnostic tool. It runs a lightweight scan of your site to evaluate AI citability, analyzing your content clarity and your structured data.
Right, it gives you a quick health check.
Exactly. It gives you a baseline score of just how broken your current setup is in the eyes of a generative bot. It's actually kind of ironic that HubSpot, the prime cautionary tale of the 81% traffic drop, is providing the most accessible tool to diagnose the very issue they suffered from.
It is very fitting. But if you want to fix the root cause of what the AEO Grader identifies, we really have to talk about the underlying architecture of data on the web. We have to talk about entities.
Right, entities. The reports highlight a tool called WordLift, which is this Italian AI platform that is rapidly becoming standard infrastructure for modern content teams. Its entire focus is entity-based SEO, automating schema markup, and building knowledge graphs.
Which can sound a bit dry, but it's crucial.
Yeah, let's break those technical terms down. Schema markup is essentially a layer of code, usually JSON-LD, that sits invisibly on your web page and tags your data for machines.
Right. Instead of just displaying text that says $50, Schema tags it so the machine unequivocally knows this is a price point in US dollars.
And a knowledge graph is a mathematical web of relationships between those tagged entities. It maps out how a specific author is connected to a specific topic, which is then connected to a specific company. WordLift structures your unstructured text into a highly organized database of people, places, organizations, and concepts.
The best way to visualize this is that WordLift is basically building a digital who's who cheat sheet for the AI. You're not just writing a paragraph about your CEO and hoping the AI's natural language processor figures out their credentials.
You can't rely on hope anymore.
No, you are mathematically spoon-feeding the AI the exact blueprint of your reality.
Yeah.
You are handing the crawler a perfectly organized file that essentially says, here is our brand, here are the entities associated with it, and here is how they relate to the broader industry. And in a landscape where AI models are constantly battling the risk of hallucination, making things up because they lack clear context, providing a mathematically perfect cheat sheet of your entities is the ultimate competitive advantage.
It makes their job so much easier.
You are doing the heavy data structuring for them so the AI crawler doesn't have to spend its compute budget figuring it out.
So what does this all mean? We've covered a tremendous amount of ground from our stack of August 12, 2026 reports. If we boil down the mechanisms and the shifts, optimizing purely for traditional Google search means you are willingly forfeiting up to half of all AI-driven discovery traffic.
Half your potential audience just gone.
Gone. The transition is non-negotiable. Brands have to construct dedicated workflows for different platforms because Claude's neural weights prioritize completely different information than Perplexity's RG pipeline. You must inject real, verifiable human experience into your content because AI just cannot simulate real-world friction, and you have to keep your technical infrastructure lightweight and perfectly structured, or the bots simply won't afford the compute costs to read your site.
If we connect this to the bigger picture, there is a profound, almost hidden consequence to everything we've just discussed.
What's that?
Think about it. We are optimizing our servers for compute budgets. We are deploying schema markup to feed knowledge graphs. We are structuring our data specifically so non-human agents can digest it effortlessly. We are actively engineering a machine-to-machine web.
Wow. A completely invisible internet running beneath the one we actually see.
Precisely. For the last 30 years, web design has been entirely human-centric. We cared about color theory, emotional branding, visual hierarchy, compelling copy because human eyeballs were the only audience that mattered. But if generative AI models become the primary consumers of raw web content, acting as the ultimate middlemen who read the internet so we don't have to iterate, The entire concept of human-facing web design might become obsolete for certain industries.
That's crazy to think about.
If your only true visitor is a crawler looking for a JSON LD data structure, what happens to the visual internet? We might be moving toward a future where websites are nothing more than raw, perfectly mapped databases, stripped of all human aesthetics, existing purely to feed the machines that answer our prompts.
A completely utilitarian, invisible web built just for the bots. That is a wild and honestly slightly unnerving thought to end on. Thank you for joining us as we explore the incredible shifts happening around us in the world of generative discovery. Don't wait on this. Start auditing your site's technical foundation and entity structures, because the AI platforms certainly aren't waiting for anyone. Keep diving deep, and we'll catch you on the next one.